Well, to discuss now foreign exchange strategy, Jeremy Stretch, senior currency strategist at Rabobank International, joins me. Jeremy, thank you so much for being here. Now, we are talking so much about Greece, and it does seem that, we've been talking almost about nothing else over the last 3 weeks. But yesterday, Chancellor Angela Merkel saying this will have an effect on the euro in the longer term. How much of an effect can it have?
Well, you're right that I think we have been talking about this issue for a considerable period, and I think we will continue to talk about Greece for some time because of the concerns that the fiscal pressures that the Greek government are facing are going to continue to weigh on the broader Eurozone. And I think that is going to be one of the reasons why I think the euro probably will underperform the dollar throughout, or at least through the majority of 2010. Because of these fiscal concerns, because of the economic divergences, because of the pressure that puts on ECB policy in terms of any potential monetary tightening through the rest of the year. And of course, as Mr. Trichet mentioned about no preference in the collateral rules for Greece if they were to be further downgraded, I think it all adds up to negative pressure for the Eurozone. Yeah,
Mr. Trichet also saying that it's absurd imagining Greece opting out of the euro. What is the worst possible scenario for you that's actually credible?
Well, that's absolutely true. I think that the people who are suggesting that there's going to be a breakup of the euro on the basis of these fiscal pressures are probably just in cloud cuckoo land. But I think what we are risking that at some stage the Greeks may well have trouble servicing their debt. They may well require help from the IMF, for example. I think that's probably the worst-case scenario. I think it's unlikely at this juncture, but I think people will be testing the resolve of the Eurozone and also that resolve as regards the no bailout clause within the Eurozone structures. Those would probably be the worst-case scenarios, and if we were to get to anything like that sort of magnitude, then I think you would probably see the euro appreciably weaker than it is currently.
To what kind of levels, Jeremy?
Well, as far as euro-dollar is concerned, I think we can easily find ourselves in into the low 130s into the middle part of this year or towards the end of the third quarter. Maybe if we were to see a real crisis, not just in Greece, but maybe in one or two of the other nations that also have fiscal pressures, I think you could see something substantially below that, maybe even as low as 125, although that's not our central case forecast, but certainly the low 130s by the third quarter.
Now, this morning it does seem that investors are looking for a little bit of safety buying dollar and yen. Is this going to continue into next week?
Well, I think what we're seeing is investors are just a little bit nervous vis-à-vis the global recovery, and also because of the tightening that we saw from China earlier in the week in terms of the reserve requirements. And in a sense, that's endemic in terms of just a slowing in Chinese activity, and obviously until the rest of the world is able to fulfill or fill the gap, then I think that does suggest that we may not see the sort of recovery that perhaps some have been hoping. So I think for now that probably does mean that the yen may see a little bit of traction. Obviously, there are coupon and redemption payments in the Eurozone as well today, which in the short term I think will provide the yen with a little bit more support. And we may well see the yen getting back sub-90 levels into the fiscal year end. And as far as the dollar is concerned, I think, again, we will see further upside potential, not least because of the cyclical recovery, but also the prospect of the Fed getting back into a tightening phase into the second half of the year.
Jeremy, we only have 20 seconds left. I wanted to ask you about the pound and Cadbury's. This, if we see more bidders, is going to lift cable.
Yes, I think there is a risk that if we do see more activity, then cable could get a little bit more of a lift. I think, though, once we get above the 164 area, I think it's pretty difficult to see much in the way of upside from there. So I think once we get to those sort of levels, it might be time to lighten any cable long positions.
All right, Jeremy, thank you so much.
Thank
Jeremy
you.
Stretch there, senior currency strategist at Rabobank. Well.